Awesome. Thanks so much for having me come present. Thanks to Mindy. I know she can't be here tonight, but that's it's exciting. I'm gonna set a timer because I'm legit like that. Um, I've been coming to SEMPA off and on for quite a few years. Many years. But it's been a couple years since I've been to this one, so it's exciting to come back as for the first time as a presenter. Um, so I'm going to talk about myself a little bit, which is really fun, and then I'll get into what we're going to talk about today, my topic. Um, so for SIMPA, so I'm Jen Woolfe, as you know. I'm an artist, producer, and DJ. I put the words artist first because I'm also a poet and a writer. I put producer second. Um, even though I've been DJing longer than producing, but I put producer second because I started dedicating myself to producing about 13 years ago, like really got serious about it, and I've been identifying as a producer since then. Um, but a lot of you do know me as an historic member of the Seattle's Shameless family. I've played a lot of the decked outs, and I've been friends and fam with Shameless for almost 20 years, off and on, out of the city and in the city. So that's how a lot of people know me. And I'm also a mentor in the dance music mentorship circle, not membership. I've been a mentor there for the last couple years, off and on, as we do. So as I said, also a music producer and a DJ. I have releases out on labels One Audio. I have one on United Souls Music here in Seattle. I also have an old one from Look Records in San Francisco and a teeny tiny one on Get Up Recordings out of New York City. Chrissy Love. Yeah, exactly. That's awesome. Yes. Oh my gosh, they're so great. Love them. So yeah, nice one. And I've performed at venues as a DJ across mostly the left coast, from Seattle, San Francisco, Los Angeles, Arizona, Salt Lake, many places in between. One time in Boston, twice in Boston, out in the world. So here's all my links if you want to go find them. And it's not here, but you can also email me at jen@jenwoolfe.com. All right, so let's go to the next one. Let me find my mouse. Oh. Well, that's the title. We're going to talk about reference tracks in music production, otherwise called 3 Ways to Meet a Model. But before that, I will talk a little bit more about me, because I really want to talk about my production journey. Like I said, back in about 2013, I got very serious about production, and I was living in San Francisco at the time. I had an opportunity to move out to Moab, Utah, and I lived there for the winter, and then I moved back and got to live there for another 14 months, and I got to focus entirely on music production. That's where I really focused on learning Ableton. I come from a tech background, so I started with the tech and learning the software. I left San Francisco, I thought temporarily, because there was too many awesome people doing too many awesome things, and I was allowing that to keep me from doing my awesome things. So I had this opportunity to move to Moab, Utah, and I was gifted this little pottery studio to write music in, and that's where I did a bunch of tutorials. I made a bunch of really bad music. I had some friends come visit. I met musicians, and we made some really fun, wonderful music. There's actually one of the ones on New York City is one that I made there. My friend DJ Lauren was from the Bay. Now she's in Berlin. We made that one. And also there's a political piece out there with a friend of mine in San Francisco named Shahid Buttar. But if you want to know about that, it's on the YouTube, and I can point it to you. But that's where I really just got serious and had a lot of fun. And then after that, I moved back to Seattle in 2015, and I was having these feelings that my, bass lines just weren't quite hitting, right? And so I decided to start learning bass guitar. I tried to learn it online, that did not work. So I got lessons, and I took bass lessons for off and on, as we do, for about 4 years here in Seattle. And then I met a drummer, and we jammed, and that was pretty cool. And then she's like, "Oh, do you want to meet the band?" And I was like, "What? There's a band?" Yeah, so that's when I accidentally fell into a rock band called the Janets. We had 6 songs, about 6 songs. 5 of them were 7 songs, maybe. 5 of them were written by that my artist friend on the right, who is DJ Miss Marvelette here in Seattle. She's amazing. Go see her sometime. She plays all vinyl. She wrote 5 of the songs. We did one remix of Leslie Gore's "You Don't Own Me," which was fantastic. And then I wrote a song, and they made me sing it. So that was intense. So we practiced every Monday for a year, and we had 2 gigs out at Southpaw Pizza in Seattle. And then this crazy thing called COVID happened, and also one of our band members moved away from the city. So the Janets were no longer, but that was an amazing experience, and it was really exciting to kind of live a little bit of a teenage destiny there, and I will do it again. It's my retirement goal. So that was really fun. And then at the same time, around 2018, at the same time, I was feeling better about my bass lines, but I was like, my songs still aren't sounding that. There's some going on. There's not sounding that great. So I went to the UW continued education, and I did the UW audio production certificate. I had a choice to quit my job and go to North Seattle and do the 2-year program, but I couldn't afford that, so I did the extension one, and I actually had some extended family members who helped me with that financially, which was an incredible surprise gift. And that was pretty amazing. If you ever want to know about that program, it's really, really interesting. I have a lot to say about it. It was very holistic. It was not electronic focused. The first class that I went to, they spent 3 hours talking about microphones, and I was like, what the hell am I doing here? This is not where I want to go. But I learned incredible stuff. I learned the science of sound. In the winter quarter, we got to visit a lot of the recording studios around Seattle, especially this one called the London Bridge, which has Alice in Chains and Soundgarden, and recorded some of their albums. And I just learned a lot of the basics. The cool thing about this one, this is not my photo, but I've had another professional producer tell me, all this stuff and all these channels and everything is how we used to do things, but now it fits all in that little box. It's crazy. So I end up having to take the last quarter the year later because I had to go back to work. And that actually worked out well because the last quarter was all editing and Pro Tools. They use Pro Tools. But anyway, if you want to know more about that program, I learned a lot. I also learned some habits that I've been needing to undo in electronic music. So that's another thing to think about. The other thing I want to talk about along my journey is collaboration. This is my really good friend from the Bay when I lived there this is us in 2010, DJ Denise. This is us back when we were on the same softball team called the Hot Messes. And she is one of my main mentors and one of my main collaborators. So we have 2 songs that are out there. She has 1 million songs, but 2 of them I wrote with her. One is the one that just came out on One Audio last year, and one is one that the one we did on Look Records in 2011, which was also co-written. The vocals and the words were all done by our very own Dane Garfield here in Seattle. So that was fun. But I just want to talk about how important collaboration is in making music. Everyone's here exactly for that. over the years, I have notes with how many people I've sat with. Um, so I've sat with John Lee and Simon Hauser. I sat with Hector Rodriguez a couple times. I sat with Mike Balance out of LA. Um, I've also done projects with Rachel Vick. My friend Nico Tower, who's in New York now, I've done projects for finished and unfinished, right? Nico Tower, we have a few finished but not published. I talked about Lauren, and I talked about Dane. And also jamming, right? Jamming is important. I've jammed with Levi Clark and Alan Allen, who I don't see here tonight, but he comes here a lot. And I just met up with Todd Pruitt last week to share some ideas. So collaboration is so, so important, and I'm glad that everyone's here to do that. But for anyone listening who hasn't done that, do it. And Denise is killing it. She has been putting out records within Stereo, DJ Dan's label, rest in peace, R.I.P., for the last probably 5 years or so. So she's doing great. The other thing I want to talk about is mentorship. I'm going to take a drink of water. So mentorship has also been really important for me. I did all this stuff, and I went all these different directions, and I learned a lot. And I learned a lot from sitting with people. And one thing I learned is that a lot of people are really good at the spaces that they know and the music that they know. But what I really needed was someone to meet me where I was at and to say, okay, here's where Jen is, and here's where she wants to go, she told me. So I can help her. I needed someone to help me build that bridge to get there. And so Mac Vaughn, also out of Oakland, he was originally someone that I worked with back in 2013 when I really started. And then we worked together for a little bit. He got me started, and then he went off and got big. He runs a record label called Fierce Animals. He's a techno producer, but he has his own business doing audio engineering, which he's always done all my audio engineering of songs that I finished. But also mentorship, career development, all that kind of stuff. So in 2015, after doing Around the Sun, which I did, which was the remix for Uniting Souls last year, I reached back out to him and I was like, do you have space for mentorship? And he said, yes, I do. So in the last year, I've been working with him, and it's been amazing because, as I said, he was able to meet me where I was at, which was a really big challenge. So he's helped me quite a lot. So check out him too. All right, that's all. For any of those who are newish, your journey doesn't have to take you in all these areas, but mine did, right? So that's okay. I'm cool with that. All right, so let's get to the fun stuff. So 3 ways to meet a model and using reference tracks. How many people here use reference tracks in their workflow now? Awesome. Yeah, I figured a lot of people do. I'm going to show you 3 different ways that I've used them. I can think about it in the songs that I've written. I can think of at least 2 more ways that I'm not going to talk about here, and I'm sure you all have other ways as well. So we've been using modeling to create art since the beginning of time. In doing visual art, in doing structural art, looking at something, seeing how it is, working with the shading, and just either not recreating it necessarily, but using it to define your version of what you're seeing, right? It's always you're reflecting what you're seeing. When we talk about modeling to create in music, of course, what we're really talking about is listening, like deep listening, right? Especially when it comes to defining different genres. Different genres have a lot of different rules, different ways of dealing with each of the areas. So what is it that, what is the music that you are writing, and the people who are writing the music that you're writing, like what are they really doing, and what are the pieces that are calling to um, another, I was really resistant to use reference tracks for a long time. I'm not really sure why, but playing bass guitar helped me understand that, um, especially when it comes to bass, you're never gonna write a bass line that hasn't been written, right? Like, Western music is written all in the same 12 notes, with the same 12 notes. But so you can, recreate bass lines that you've heard in different songs. What makes it yours is how you tune your guitar, how the rhythm that you play on it, the song that you write around it, the band members and how they play off of it, the type of amp you have, things like that. So especially when it comes to electronic music, what makes it ours is all the layers you put on top of it, the plugins that you use, there's just so much more ways to make it yours. And especially when it comes to sample-based music, like house music, techno, things like that, tech house, which is my bread and butter and one of my cores. You can listen to a sample and you can, find another sample that sounds kind of like it. It'll never sound the same. It'll always be different. So your flavor will always come out. That's something I was really worried about when I started doing that. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna show you 3 different ways, like I said, that I've used reference tracks. So I'm gonna talk about I'm gonna show a song that I wrote in 2022, which I call Space Mermaid. And that is used for arrangement, which I imagine most people here have used it for. So I'm gonna just start with a really easy one, a really, common one, I should say, not easy. And then I'll talk about a way that I used it to capture vibe. So when I was doing the remix for Around the Sun from Uniting Souls of Rachel Vick and Wolf Stacks, I really captured something. I really captured the call and response. Does everyone here connect to call and response pretty much? Yeah, awesome. Cool. So we'll get to listen to some of that. And then I'll show you a song that I made this last year, which very few people have heard, called Electricity. And we're gonna listen to the vocals, and I'm gonna kind of show how I could really pull out and saw some of the chorus and verses, like the way it was structured, really, I could see the chorus verse structure of rock and pop in it, and I thought that was pretty interesting. All right, so let's do that. Okay, so we have about 10 minutes on this section. This is, oh, don't look at that yet. This is the fun part where we get to be nice to the demo gods. Okay. Whoops. Awesome. That's all good. This is going to be interesting. I think maybe I should have had this over here. All right. Okay, so again, I'm sure most people here have been utilizing like this, but anyone who is new or is listening in online, some of this might be newish. But I want to start with something that was, like I said, kind of common, and it's a little bit blurry there, but you could see how I really got in on this one, and was understanding the arrangement pieces and really map them all out. This is a fun challenge. So it's hard to read, but that's like, this is where the loop starts, and that's where the vocals start, and there's where the pads start, and the kick, and blah, blah, blah. And of course, those are the markers, which I think are Control M or Command N, something like that. And I always put my reference track at the top of all my music, so it's really easy to see, I guess. Um, so for this one, what was cool about it is I ended up doing some choppy stuff. This talks a lot about vocals, just because it's easier for me to kind of talk through. And I forgot to even say, the music that I write is also the music that I play, so it tends to be Jack and House and some deep house and with tech house roots. That's where my roots are. So there's a lot of vocals to them, and they're a huge part of the rhythmic, essence. So with this one, what it was really cool is I listened to the breakdown and modeled how the reference track did the vocals during the breakdown, and I ended up putting things in that I wouldn't have done before. So let's listen to the reference track first, if I can finagle this. Just at the part that I have put together here. Okay. So that's the reference track, and it is called Never Give Up by Aaron Noyes on Open House Beats. Is that a good okay. So let's hear, this is to show how different they can sound, even if I'm trying to recreate the same thing. And I should be able to open them for you. So you can see what the vocals are doing, in theory. That's not them. This part is a challenge. Yeah, okay. I'll start a little further back, actually. I think these little bits coming up are one of the things that was a new experiment to me. Yep, so that is awesome. Thank you. Right on. Okay, so let's move to the next one. All right. Oops, yeah, this is a fun left right experiment. Okay, so for Around the Sun in 2024? Um, Uniting Souls put out a remix contest, and I had already worked with Rachel. We have a project that we worked on for quite a few months, and it's rich and delicious. But we both realized it wasn't really the music that either one of us would play. So we tabled it, and it's sitting there waiting for its next lifeline. And I hope to play it someday at sunrise at the Burning Man. So, because that's kind of the vibe that it would do. So for this one, I want to talk about. I'm going to do my timer so we don't get like disrupted. Try to keep on track. For this one, I want to talk about call and response, which a lot of you know already and work with. And this is in regards to vibe. So when Uniting Souls put this remix contest out, I was like, okay, I'm going to do this. And what I wanted to do was recreate a song that they, not recreate, but to utilize a song that's already on their label in order to capture the vibe that they have, that they put out. Which is mostly what I play anyway, but I think there's a few other, I would say like percussion-y and tribal elements that I wouldn't necessarily. So I picked this song, which is one of the ones that I like best, and it is, I didn't write the reference track. That's okay, I'll find it. Jordan Bordeaux's, I'll find that for you. I didn't write it down. But what I really wanted to do was just pick some of the elements that I thought were something that captured the vibe. And also, there's psychology around humans listening to sounds that they recognize. And like in them or feeling close to them. Or even better, that they kind of almost recognize. They're like, oh, I think I might know that. When that happens, it does something that call and response is a smaller part of a bigger thing, which is creating tension and then releasing tension. Huge part of dance music, right? Creating tension, get people excited, wondering what's going on, what's gonna happen next. When you're dancing on the dance floor, you're like, what's gonna happen? But you need to also relieve that tension in order for people to feel good, right? So the call and response is a little piece of that. What I noticed when I listened to this track is the bass did its own call and response. So the bass line kind of at the beginning like calls and responds to itself. And then as the track progresses, the bass line calls and the keys respond. And then also the keys later do the call and response. So I wanted to really play with that. So let's start with the reference track. I gave myself some little notes here as to where to start. This is already past the bass line part, but you can hear the keys. Right, it goes the keys, then the bass line. Further, I'm just going to jump. As it gets further, it's the keys that are doing all the call and response. And then the bass line is just the underneath, right? Okay, so I wanted to do a little voodoo magic on them. and recreate that. So here is how I ended up doing it. And so also with this, I hadn't opened this for a couple years, and when I opened it last weekend, it was terrible. You know how that I have this whole thing where I only like the last two songs I ever wrote. Um, and this is like the third. So when I was opening it up and listening to things, I was like, what am I doing? What was I doing? So some of these sounds are actually sounding different than the song that's out there. Most of it's the same, but I added a few new vocals just this Saturday and stuff. And also a brand new kick. The kick is totally new. So we'll see what happens. Maybe we'll start from here. Obviously, it's not mastered, and I don't think I have anything on here. Oh, yeah, I do. Let's see if I jump to the key. Well, there's the keys. See if they do the call and response. I have a billion layers on my clap for some reason. Actually, I know why that is, but anyway. So did everyone hear that kind of recreation there? That model? Yeah, that was awesome. So I don't know if that voodoo magic worked or if they just liked the song, but they put it out, and I thought that was pretty awesome. So thanks to Ramiro and the Uniting Souls for that. Yeah, thanks. And to Rachel and Wolf Stacks. Okay, so let's go to the third one. See if I can do this. I'm going to make sure I do it from here so I get the right one, actually. Let's do this. Okay, so with this song, again, I'm focusing a lot on vocals, but you could obviously do this with a lot of things, or any of the pieces. So percussion, obviously bass, keys are easy for that, pads, breakdown. Breakdowns are so varied. That's a great one to play with. Don't say we don't care about that. So after Around the Sun, that's when I was like, something's still not like really happening in terms of like my audio engineering and my mixing, especially. So that's when I reached out to Mac Vaughn, and I was like, can you take me on? He's like, let's do it. So we wrote a couple different tracks. This is the third one I wrote after having sessions with him. It's called Electricity. This is the one that most people have not heard. This one also, the vocals from this one. So I've been using Loop Cloud. Who uses Loop Cloud? And then out here. How about Splice? Yeah. I was using Splice. That was rad. And maybe Splice does this now, but last year I switched to Loop Cloud because two things. One, it's easier. I don't know if I have my channel in here with it. And I am on the internet. But anyway, so I like that that it follows the BPM of the song, so you can listen along with it in my what I feel in a better way than Splice. But also, you can let me know if Splice does this now. But you can change the key in Loop Cloud, so you can listen to the samples in key. I did learn a trick though. I was downloading them. Maybe I'll open this since we have a few minutes. Hold on a sec, 'cause we're a little ahead. Does it do that? Okay, cool. Nice. With Loop Cloud, in order to actually get the song, the sound, I probably don't have it in there. It's okay. I realized that at the bottom, you have to actually hit export with the key locked in, and I couldn't like drag it directly from the sample. I had to drag it from the actual export. And also, it only works it's only right 6 out of 10 times. Yeah. I'm very OCD about my about all of the sounds being in key. Yeah, it's big. Okay, so what else do I want to say about this? So again, I'm talking a lot about vocals, but this is this shows more. I know what I was gonna say. Okay, this shows what I really did for this one. My reference track is a reference track I've been working with for the last 3 songs, I think. I tried to get away with it with the song I'm writing now, and then it just, everything went awry. It was bad. I gotta find a new one. Then I was like, oh, I'm gonna use something else, and that one was really complex, and it just was struggling with that one. So then I went back to this one, and now I have 2, and then there was 3. It was bad. I'm backtracking. But so this song actually is called, some people probably have heard this. I don't know if I've actually played it, but it says it's a funky house track. It's called Deep End from Ghostbusters, No Hopes and Sean Fenn. It's on the label called Tribal Kitchen. And this is straight up what I play on the rooftop with Jack and House. So let's listen to it a little bit. What I really did was I really did a deep dive to listen to what the vocals were doing. And before I play mine, I'll just play a little bit of it so you get the flavor. And before I play mine, I'm going to go back to my slide deck for a second. Okay, let's just hear what they have to say. I've been trying not to Okay, you get the idea. So let's see if I can just switch here. Yeah. So I want to talk. So when I really did a deep dive on this one and slideshow, what I love about the vocals themselves, what I really loved about it is, so I was really feeling the tension and release of tension, right? And I also, knowing more now about rock and pop and how to write a pop song or a surf rock song, because that's very simple. I'm gonna switch to this side. What I kind of saw was okay, house music, Jack and House music, vocal house music that I play does have a lot of elements of pop and rock, and it has the same structure. It just uses little pieces of it, right? And I see this over and over, even in other areas besides vocals now. I was showing Todd last week a song, and he was noticing that it was very it had a structure of jazz. I don't know the structures of jazz, but he called that out. I was like, wow. So what I really kind of just imagined was playing baseball, and baseball being like that tension and release of tension. So obviously the release of tension is going to be a home run. Like you get a home run, we're like, yay. Generally, rock and pop will have like super vanilla flavor. Verse, chorus, verse, chorus, verse, maybe into the chorus. This did that, but it really kind of just did the chorus right away. I was like, wow. Oh, and can everyone read that? My notes.